Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Homestead Tech Talk. My name is Chris, and if you're joining us for the first time, here's what you need to know. This podcast is your guide to becoming more self-sufficient, safe, and prepared. Whether it's through electrical know-how, mastering self-defense, or becoming a pro at permaculture, we've got you covered. Because here at Homestead Tech Talk, we're all about navigating the modern world with some old school wisdom. So buckle up and let's dive into today's episode. This will be another episode of Homestead Tech Talk, and today we're just going to kind of freestyle talk about guns and what we recommend and all that good stuff, you know, for beginners. The reason I'd like to bring that up is because, remember COVID when we were working together, Steve? Oh, by the way, I have Steve Ashford. I'm Chris Sprague. I have Steve Ashford and Scott Akins on the line with me. We're all electricians. And, we're all mild firearms enthusiasts, nothing crazy. Just, we like to have a couple guns around, And when we were working at Shawnee High School during COVID, remember how everybody used to give us crap for having guns? And then all of a sudden, when the CDC announced that they're going to take people's kids away if they tested positive for COVID, everybody swarmed everybody trying to get guns, but it was too late. This episode's kind of to preliminary, not have to deal with that. So, maybe you can go get a gun on your own and not give people crap for owning guns. That'd be nice. And with that, let's get started. So, what are y'all's opinions?
Can you still hear me, Chris?
Yeah, I got you.
I put in my earpods. Well, I'll throw in my two favorites, I guess, or my two go-to. Ruger 1022 with a suppressor. Unfortunately, to get a suppressor now is ridiculous, but whatever. And then a Mossberg 500 or something along those lines. I love a pump gun.
Pump-action shotgun.
A pump-action shotgun because they are so useful. You can hunt so many things with them, from bird to deer, and from the reloading aspect, almost all pistol powders can make decent 12-gauge shotgun loads. And so if you've got if you're shooting a 12-gauge, you can reload for a host of different type of game, and self-defense if you wanted to. So that's my 2 cents on that.
What do you think, Scott?
Well, there's another benefit to a 12-gauge pump shotgun. Everybody knows that sound, and usually that's all it takes to deter somebody.
Yeah.
Personally, with me, they don't hear that sound because I keep one in the chamber.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking from a hunting standpoint. For that gun, I don't.
I'd have to. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say I don't use a shotgun for self-defense. But I mean, if that's the only gun you have, you got to buy one gun, that would be a great one to buy. But I like mine for squirrel, rabbit, bird, and deer if I have to. But I got other guns for deer. But worst case, I could do deer with my shotgun too.
Yeah.
So
anyway, go ahead.
What's your two guns? If you had to pick two guns off the top of your head to have, first guns you'd ever buy.
Two guns off the top of my head. Probably be a 5.56 rifle and a 45. And a 10 left.
Okay. Yeah, I know those are your favorites.
Yeah, those are my favorites. Or 10 millimeter. I could go either way between 45 and 10 millimeter. 10 millimeter is just a lot more expensive for ammo and harder to find.
Yeah. 45 is not too unreasonable. I mean, it's a little higher than 9 millimeter.
Yeah.
But
it's not great, but it's not horrible either.
Yeah. But, the 1911 is a fun shooting gun. I like them.
They're a little bit harder. I mean, you can't conceal a 1911 as easily. But I'm I've never been a big fan of concealed carry anyway, so I like to open carry.
Oh, you're an open carry fan.
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, I don't care either way. Aaron open carries because he has to. In Kentucky, you can't conceal carry under 21, but you can open carry from ages 18 to 20.
Right.
So he does because he has to.
Yeah.
But maybe one day the Supreme Court will change that. There's several laws that have. I don't want to go off the rail. My gosh, we could talk for hours on this podcast. But the Supreme Court, in whatever one that's over Georgia, 18 to a few 18 to 20-year-olds have filed suit, and it's gone all the way to the Supreme Court. And basically it was appealed because the state didn't like the decision of the one court, and basically the one court under the Bruin decision said, yeah, you can't tell 18 to 20-year-olds they have to open carry, but yet if you're over 21, you can conceal carry. They're like, that don't make any sense. So of course the state appealed it because they didn't like that decision, and now it's like going to the Supreme Court. So anyway, that's
And 18 years old, that's the age of majority. That's the age that's the age you can sign up for military service, vote, smoke cigarettes, but you can't drink for some reason.
Yeah, and
I mean, you can die for your country. You can carry a gun and die for your country, but you can't conceal carry in your own country. It's a little crazy.
Yeah, it's absurd. But anyway, so yeah, we'll have to do another podcast just on the political insanity of our gun laws in this country, but that's for another day.
Yeah, we'll shoot that one farther down the line. This is just going to get us into the basics. A little bit of firearms, a little bit of reloading. Talk about maybe bullet casting a little bit. Just kind of an introduction to if somebody didn't have a gun and they wanted to get one, what they should get, what they can do for cost effectiveness. And my first gun I would probably get. It's going to depend. If I'm a city slicker and I live in the city and I need something for self defense, I'm going to buy a pistol first. And
Right.
that pistol is going to be a 9mm double stack pistol of some sort that's reliable. Whether that be, and probably a compact pistol, like a Glock 19. That way it's somewhat concealable. Like right now it's winter where we're at. I wear sweaters. I can conceal carry a pistol all day long and nobody's ever going to know I have it. I'm carrying a SIG P320 compact RXP. It has a 3.6-inch barrel. It's just a little bit smaller than the SIG M18. And it comes with a reflex sight. I like the SIG. It's good. Glocks are cheaper. You can probably pick up a Taurus PT92, which is similar to the Beretta 92. That's fairly cheap and effective. But you don't want to go cheap. You just want to get something that's effective. Whatever you're happy with, whatever you're comfortable with on a pistol.
Cheap is a relative term.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you're wealthy, cheap is a whole different meaning.
Yeah.
So you should buy the best pistol available to you that you can afford.
Yeah.
And still have money left over for ammo to train with and have to defend yourself. You're going to want, and the reason I recommend a double stack 9mm pistol of some sort is because 9mm is extremely cheap. It's readily available. You can buy cases of the stuff for dirt cheap on bulkammo.com. MagTech, Talamo, steel cased, whatever. But when it comes to self defense, you're going to want to buy some decent self defense ammo. Like Liberty Defense makes good ammo. Spear Gold Dot. I'm a big fan of the Spear Gold Dot. It's all
Gold dots
expensive.
are awesome.
Hornady XTPs work well. Hornady Critical Defense works well. And Scott likes Critical Defense too. I typically carry Critical Defense. It's kind of that in between cost effectiveness and availability, and it works. And then if I'm out in the country a little bit and I don't have a gun yet, which would be kind of odd, it'd be the 12-gauge shotgun. Mossberg 500. I don't like the 500s as much because they the pump rattles on them a little bit. Pump rattle scares me. But I got a Remington 870 and 20 gauge. I've got a knockoff Turkish Remington 870 and 20 gauge, And I like the shotgun for the reasons Steve said. I could put, if I got the right choke, I personally prefer an improved modified choke. It gives you a tight enough pattern to skeet shoot with, bird hunt with, squirrel hunt with. And you can also run slugs down it, whether it be a rifled slug or a sabot. As long as the sabot is designed to be ran through a smoothbore, meaning the center mass on the slug has to be at the forward end of the slug. That way it stays stable. But if you got the, then you can drop a slug in for deer. Slugs are not that expensive. And we cast our own for reloading. And then, you can run through your double aughts and your number 4 bucks for hunting and self-defense. And for self-defense, I would recommend using a number 4 buckshot. Just because it's like 20, 25 caliber pellets, and they penetrate people very well, but they don't over penetrate drywall too much. So it's kind of that fine balance for home defense on that. But yeah, so city, pistol, home defense in the country, shotgun, and then a pistol, and it would be vice versa. So city, pistol, then shotgun, country, shotgun, then pistol. And then I'd start walking into, my 1022s, a light rifle for light game hunting, my AR-15s, my bolt guns, maybe even a couple lever actions if you like lever action, stuff like that. What would be your third gun?
Well, my third gun would be a pistol, because I didn't mention a pistol in my first 2. So
Yeah.
my third gun would be a compact, which, obviously we're gun people, so we've got all of these. But so yeah, I carry the Canic, which I think we're going to end up standardizing our handguns. Aaron likes the M18, and his magazines were working our Sig 320s, I think is what you got.
The 320
so
compact RXP.
Yeah, so I'm thinking I'm going to match your pistol, just so we all have standardized magazines. Because I love my Canic, but it's a very unique. A Canic is unique. Their magazines are unique to their guns, and their magazines are hard to get because they're a overseas manufacturer, and their gun, they built it so good that they didn't account for the number of people that were going to buy them, and now it's hard to get their magazines because they can't make the magazines as fast as people want them. So there's that.
And to be clear, so the SIG P320 RXP that I'm carrying, that Steve's talking about getting, it comes with 2 15-round magazines. And then it will take the other P320 magazines, the 17 and the 21-round magazines. They just stick out farther.
Right.
And conversely to that, the other 320 magazines, that encompasses, the M18 is a compact version of P20 for military use. The M17 is a full-size version of the P320 for military use. And the main differences between that is they got a loaded chamber indicator on them, and they also come with a safety, the military version versus the civilian version. But the magazines are all interchangeable, except the 15-round magazines that come with my pistol will not fit in an M18 or an M17 or any of the other P320 variants that are of that size. But the other P320 variants will fit in my magazine.
Right.
Or my mag well. It has to do with length. So there's that. Good little tidbit. But I like my SIG. And if you got a group of people, it'd be best to standardize as much stuff as you can within reason. At least standardize down to ammo. Yeah, if you guys want to standardize SIG, I'd be down with that. And I would definitely look into, I'd just say because of the political climate we're in, an AR-15 would be a good thing to get for a third gun over a bolt action, lever action, or anything else like that. And the reason being is just because it's very multi-purpose. You can build them in a lot of different calibers. It's like Legos for men. So I can make pistols. I have an AR-15 pistol in 5.56 with a 10.5-inch barrel that I can put a suppressor on, and it fits in a backpack. I've got an AR-15 rifle and a 16-inch barrel, 5.56, or it's actually 223 Wild, that I use for those long-range shots. I killed a few deer with it. I've got another pistol. It's a 10.5-inch 300 blackout. And I recommend 300 blackout for hunting over the 5.56 because deer like 5.56. There's so much you can do with it, and then I think you lost it. Still there. Still there. And then
I'm here.
if you get
You're breaking up a
5.56,
little bit.
You can vary the bullet size. You can use a 223 or 5.56 for deer hunting, self-defense, whatever. And then you've got a semi-automatic platform that is usually MOA accuracy or better, depending on whether you reload or not. But you can get a minimum of 2 MOA, or a maximum of 2 MOA accuracy out of it. So that holds 2-inch groups at 100 yards. It'll do more than what you ever needed to, and you got quick follow-up shots. And then, I would also have a bolt action at some point for reloading if you plan to reload, because it gives you more powder options, bullet options. You don't have to worry about cycling a bolt. You could fill a cartridge case full of black powder and run it through a bolt action all day long, and black powder is easy to make. But that's my opinion. What's your third choice?
Third choice.
You mentioned an AR-15 and a 1911.
1911 45. I don't know if you guys had any experience with them, but I'm a fan of the 12 gauge on an AR platform.
I've never had one.
I've never had one either.
I have owned one, and I that is probably one of the biggest regrets I had was getting rid of it. I had the MKA 1919, and you can get them with 5. It comes with 2 5-round magazines. You can get a 10-round magazine. You can get extended magazines, but they're just obnoxiously.
It's gotta be heavy and huge and bulky.
But the 5 and 10-round magazines, it's actually a pleasure to shoot. It has the same buffer tube system like an AR. I mean, the recoil is very manageable.
Were those gas operated or recoil operated? Gas operated.
Gas operated.
Wow.
What kind of shells would those cycle? Would they cycle low brass?
They've cycled low brass. Yeah.
Okay, like regular skeet loads and stuff. Okay.
I think if I'm not mistaken, 2 3/4 all the way up to 3-inch.
Yeah. Okay.
You could get. They came with different choke tubes, 3 different choke tubes. You could, it's a rifle barrel. You can shoot slugs through it.
So do they come with 2 barrels, like interchangeable barrels, a smooth bore and a rifle? No.
I'm just a fan of the semi-automatics, and ever since my Army days, have just been a fan of the M16 AR style platforms. And a lot of it comes down to what you're familiar with, what
That's
your
true.
personal preference are. You take somebody who's only ever shot an AR, they're going to be more comfortable with that than an AK platform.
Absolutely,
so, yeah. Personal preference, and experiences plays a lot into it. But yeah, it was really accurate, and I didn't have any problems with them feeding. So that'd probably be my third choice.
Okay, that's a good one. I need to look those up because I'd like a semi-auto too. And I did make a mistake. I said high brass or low brass. There's no difference in pressure between high brass and low brass. I was meaning 2 3/4 or 3-inch. And the only difference in those is the shot, the amount of shot. But usually it'll provide just a little bit more oomph to get the bolt cycling. The heavy round will. But yeah. And then, what should we have for our 3 basic guns?
I think I like to keep a minimum of my 5.56 around 1,000 rounds.
Oh
Can't
wow.
hurt.
Yeah.
That's what
No,
I keep too.
can't hurt.
And I
Can't
usually
hurt.
have anywhere between 200 and 500 rounds of 45
Yeah.
just on hand. So,
Yeah.
and
I
the
don't know how
12 gauge is pretty inexpensive. I used to buy it in the case, 250 rounds at a time.
Yeah. 12 gauges, especially birdshot and stuff. And, you know, number 5, number 6 shot, even up to 7.5 shot, you can take squirrels down all day long with it, and or birds. Steve is our shotgun guy. He's big on the shotguns.
Yeah. I got oodles of shotgun ammo, and I can make oodles of shotgun ammo. Uh, that's like my my therapy is tailoring shotgun loads to my shotgun and just seeing how good of a load I can make. Uh, but yeah, I keep a bunch of 22 ammo on hand. I had like 800 rounds of 45 on hand. I haven't done a count lately. And then tons of shotgun ammo. I don't even know how much shotgun ammo I have, but so yeah. You need enough to be
Yeah.
able to practice, enough to hunt, and enough for just in case, I guess.
Yeah. And that's kind of the way I am. And I forgot to mention one thing about the ARs as well. The CMMG sells a 22 LR conversion kit for them. I recently purchased one, and
Yeah.
we had some fun with it at the range. All of us did the other day, but it'll run in an AR pistol, an AR rifle, whatever you want to run it in, and it converts your 5.56 or 223 AR or 223 Wild 5.56 whatever AR into a 22 LR, and it comes with its own magazine. So now you've got a rifle that you can hunt like game with, and you can practice with all day long. And you can go to bulk ammo and get, um, you know, roughly 5,000 rounds of 22 LR for Arm Score 22 LR for $280, and then you've got 5,000 rounds to practice with, so you're not burning up all your 5.56. And then when you're doing reloading drills and stuff like that, then you can use your 5.56. Or for deer hunting, 5.56. You can keep all this in a backpack with an AR pistol, and that'll get you, even with a 10.5-inch barrel and 5.56, that's still going to sling. You can still sling rounds out to 300 yards all day long with it. And then you can hunt light game with it. And I built a Form 1 suppressor that I use with it, and it works great for both. It doesn't matter. And so far, the 22 LR conversion kits ran every type of 22 ammo that I've tried to run through it out of any barrel length, and it has no problems. It's just dirty as hell, and it makes your rifles dirty as hell.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to clean it. Like, it'll get so dirty it'll stop functioning after about we shoot about 600 rounds through it.
Yeah, I don't know. We shot a bunch. I don't know how many we put through it.
And it's honestly surprisingly accurate considering. I mean, what it is it just slides in, and then it slides into your chamber, and it chambers it in. But the length of the chamber that it slides into is the same length as a 223 round. So it's got that length of space to where it's just free bore until it actually engages rifling. And it was still, I mean, did you guys think it was fairly accurate?
Oh, I thought it was fairly. I mean, we didn't do any super accuracy tests on it, but I'd
Well,
say if we did,
we were shooting a quarter size target. We were shooting a quarter size IDPA target at 50 yards with it, and it was doing. I mean, it was holding its own with it.
I mean, I don't know that we didn't hit anything we were aiming at with it. So
Yeah. Was it accurate enough to shoot a squirrel at
Squirrel or rabbit?
20, 25 yards, squirrel or rabbit?
Yeah.
oh sure, absolutely.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So it's good enough. And then you can
Yeah.
just drop back into 5.56 if you want to hunt big game. But that's going to be going in my backpack with my pistol too. Is that whole 22 LR setup? And yeah, big fan of the ARs. And then,
Big fan of
and
that.
then and then Steve reloads his 30-06 with mil-cert powders and all kinds of stuff, and he can do some pretty impressive stuff with bolt guns.
Yeah, we'll do a reloading. We'll do a reloading podcast one day.
Yeah.
Just to geek out on reloading
Uh-huh.
because
We
that's
definitely have to
fun.
geek out on reloading. It is.
Yeah,
It's
we'll have
neat.
to. Yeah, we'll have to do that.
And since this is a tech talk page or tech talk podcast, there's a lot of tech involved in reloading.
There
A lot you
is.
can do. There's a lot of. You can even cast your own bullets.
Mm-hmm.
You could be like Mel Gibson in The Patriot and melt little figurines down. And
Gosh, you're a mess. You're right.
that's
though.
where I got. Well, that's where I first saw that because I've been reloading since I was like 10.
Yeah.
Off my dad's 1980s Lyman T-Mag press, and I saw that the movie The Patriot when it came out. He was spite melting down British soldier figurines into fucking mini ball or into round balls to shoot back at the fucking British, and I was like, yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah. That's what they
Sure as
did.
shit, we're doing it now.
They did. They pulled that statue down and they made 40,000 lead balls out of that statue of whoever. I can't remember who the character was.
What?
But that actually, yeah,
was that like an actual historical thing?
No, that's historical. Like I can't remember the figure. It was a British figure, and the Americans pulled the statue over because it was made out of lead, and they melted it down. They made 40,000 balls out of it and used them to shoot the British.
Here, y'all can have this back.
Yeah, that was
Give
pretty
it back
much
to them.
that was their FU. We're going to take your statue and shoot you back with it. So, yeah, that was real.
If you got
So
some,
that's what inspired that scene.
if you got some casting molds and a means to melt lead and some bare basic reloading stuff, you can make your own priming, compound your own powder. You'll never run out of ammo, ever. Because you even in an AR-15, you could run black powder through it. It's just not going to cycle the bolt, and you just got to manually rack it every time. But it'll always give you something to shoot a pill down range.
A pill. Yeah.
You'll always be able to take game for dinner. And then,
right.
Naturally, you could also get a muzzleloader if you're a felon. By the way, if there's any felons that are interested in self-sufficiency, you can buy all the black powder shit you want, and they can't do. You can buy a fucking cannon, and they can't do shit about it because it's not considered a firearm. How do I know this? My old neighbor was a felon. He beat up a cop. The cop deserved it. He got a felony. This man had a fucking arsenal of 1836 Colt Navy pistols, freaking cap and ball muzzleloaders, freaking flintlocks. I think he even had a couple matchlocks. And this dude had cylinders for him. So if he ran out of the first 6 shots, he had like 3 more cylinders he could just drop in it and speed load it faster than fucking Gary Mikulek could.
That's crazy.
Like, this dude was good. He used to go to mountain man competitions and he had to shoot an axe head and split the ball into 2 pieces and hit 2 targets with it. This guy was crazy. And yes, he had a cannon. And yes, we shot it every 4th of July. It was awesome.
Wow, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's good info.
So
that's
don't discredit black powder because 1, black powder does not require a 4473 background check. 2, if you could have a suppressor welded to a black powder barrel and it's not considered a suppressor because it's not attached to a firearm. And you can make your own black powder fairly easy out of Spectracide, tree stump remover, and you can make your own brown charcoal out of willow or pine. You grind them up, you heat a little powdered sugar up to make it to dextrin, mix 7327 on your charcoal, and then once that's done, you ball milled it, you add another fucking 10% by weight of dextrin. You mill it up, you add just enough water to where it's not powdery. You press it in a freaking, like a floor jack press, and then you crack it, and then once it's cracked, you can actually mill it off into your black powder. Or you can take it and just scrape it across the grate, and the volumetric side won't be the same, but by weight, it'll have the same energy density. You'll just have to usually use about twice the volume. But, you could dump it in there and play with it. It's really hard to blow black powder shit up because it doesn't produce enough pressure. But, disclaimer, you're not going to fill the whole barrel up. I'm not going to. Be safe. But then you can cast your own Monet balls. Like us, Steve. Have we not cast our own Monet balls for black powder?
We've casted about everything, I think.
And a Monet ball is a what looks like a traditional bullet, but it's got a conical base. So when the powder ignites, it spreads the base out to grip
Oh,
the rifle.
that's right. It's like a 360 grain.
There's a 360 grain 50 caliber Manet ball.
Yeah, 360 grain 50 caliber. I forgot about that one. I haven't loaded that in a while.
And you can shoot pure lead out of them.
I remember now, because my dentist back when, I know it's crazy. My dentist still used an X-ray machine that required the lead strips.
I remember that. We melted all those down and cast them ingots.
And they were pure lead. And I said, hey, man, can you give me those strips if y'all ever stop using this machine? And he's like, well, sure. So when they stopped and went to the electronic radiation, however it works, he gave me all of his lead strips, brand new in the box. He's like, here, you can have them. And we melted them down because they're so soft. They made great muzzle loader Manet balls. But yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that was a hell of a lot of fun. And then we cast our own shotgun slugs, cast our own number 4 buckshot, cast our own 230 grain bullets for subsonic 300 blackout loads, both hollow points and just boat tail. We came up with our own powder coating method. It was really good, so you didn't have to lube them. We'll talk about all this in a good reloading and casting episode. But yeah, the possibilities are endless. And then it's really cool because it's really satisfying. Scott, I don't think Scott's never experienced this, but putting your own recipe together, it's like baking a bread, and then you eat the bread, which is the equivalent. Shooting the round is the equivalent of eating the bread. And it turns out really good and it works really well, and you're like, yeah, I did that.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds like I could definitely get into some reloading.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get it all set up, man. If you want to come over, we'll do a whole reloading. We'll do a whole reloading podcast while we reload ammo.
Works for me.
Yeah.
We can make some bread too if you want to.
Hell, we can make some bread too.
Yeah, I can make bread too. I make my own bread literally, and I make my own bullets literally. So
yeah, we'll probably do we'll end up doing a nutrition episode of the podcast too. And I'll put a thing. I haven't done a podcast in a long time. I had surgery and was down for quite a while, so we're just now getting back into it. Look forward to more of these as time goes on. But every time we travel, I figure we'd probably squeeze together a podcast.
well, sure.
And I'll probably get Aaron on for a 3D printing one as well.
Oh yeah, you should, because he's really knows the 3D printing part of it. He's really getting good. He's really getting good with that.
It's pretty cool, all the stuff we can do with it. Maybe I'll show off by then my little magnetic levitation bearing that I've developed. We'll see how that works. Yeah.
All right.
Anything else on notes before we get off of here?
No, I think we hit the highlights. That gives plenty of people. Go ahead.
Go visit your local gun stores. If you're in Kentucky, go visit. Kentucky Gun Co., Crossroads, whatever. Shields is really good. If you got questions, ask the people there. They want to sell you shit. They'll lead you in the right direction, because that's their whole purpose, is to sell you shit. So
yeah, and if you go to a gun store that's got a range attached to it, a lot of times you can they'll have like rental guns, so you can go try them out and just
Range USA is good for that. Yep.
Just get a feel for what you like. That way you don't have to. It's not like a guess. Like, you actually get to go shoot it and be like, yeah, I don't like that, or hey, yeah, I really like that. So that's just definitely go do your research before you purchase one, but don't waste a lot of time. Like, get on it and get it done too.
Yeah.
I think people
also
need to make
check
a priority.
Your state and local laws too, because some places are weird. And then get training. If you never shot a gun before, go
safety.
Go get training, all the training you can. Pay a couple $100. Pay a couple $100, get a couple 100 rounds, have somebody teach you how to shoot.
Yep.
YouTube's also really good. You know,
Oh, yeah.
follow somebody like Garanthum, Nothing Fancy. I don't know who else shoots on YouTube, but you know,
Oh, there's tons. There's tons. They could go
if
down
you
a
need to,
rabbit hole on YouTube.
yeah, you can learn some basics, but ultimately you're going to want to go to somebody who is a reputable trainer and get formal training with your guns.
Yeah.
And yeah, obey the 4 firearm rules and get your training and have fun at it. And then you got one if you don't, or you have one if you need it. And you're
Yep.
not shit out of luck if you don't.
Yep.
Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Yep,
That's
that
what
was
my
the
dad
saying.
my dad says that all the time. I'd rather have it not need it than need it and not have it.
Yep, that and hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
Yep. My uncle's favorite saying was, "I was all right, but then I got over it."
Yeah. All right, man. Well,
Yeah.
sounds
I
like
think
a
that'll
successful podcast, and I'm gonna have to hop off here.
Yeah, we are too. We're in Toledo, I think. We're about 23 miles outside of Detroit, so we're gonna get it.
All right, sound good.
I appreciate y'all coming on, and hope y'all have a wonderful day. And I'll see you on the next one.
All right, have a good
Sounds
one.
good. See you
Later.
Y'all
See ya.
have a good one.